Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. I'm Dr. Angel Storm. I'm the founder of Ashes to Beauty Ministries. And today I want to talk to you about trauma bonding and your relationship with the narcissist. So previously I'd actually done a few videos that address this topic, but they were removed by YouTube. But you can still get them on my website by looking in the description of this video. There's a link there. I talk more about the biochemical reactions that happen when you are bonded with a narcissist in those videos. If you want to get that bundle, there's 13 videos and it's $5. Today in this video, what I want to talk to you about is what is a trauma bond, and also how to identify if you have a trauma bond. I'm just going to give you at the end some questions you can ask yourself to see if you are trauma bonded. And if you want to know how to break the trauma bond, next week my video is going to be on breaking the trauma bond. Okay, so let's get into this video. A trauma bond forms between two people, or actually between a place and people, or between a certain circumstance and people, when there is basically the reward punishment cycle going on back and forth continuously. This does something to your brain, and again, you can find more about the actual biochemical reactions that happen by clicking the link in the description of this video to get that bundle that I was talking about earlier. But it does something to your brain where you come back for more and you become addicted to this cycle of constant reward and punishment. And so what this looks like in daily life is you are going to experience love bombing. You're the best, you're amazing, we're soulmates, never thought I would meet somebody as amazing as you. All of those kind of sentiments actually do something to your brain, which if you've been watching any of my videos recently, I talk about how important it is to guard the gates into your life. So your eye gates, your ear gates. You understand that when you hear something, you see something, you touch something, you smell something, you're engaging different senses, and the more of those that are engaged, the stronger this trauma bond is going to be. So through the trauma bonding, you're not really able to make sense of what's happening. There's something called cognitive dissonance, and I have a video that talks about that more in detail if you're interested. But what happens is you're not able to make sense of what's going on. You want to believe that your partner or the narcissist in your life, maybe it's a parent, a boss, whatever, a best friend, is actually the person that is truly the person who is when they are in the love bombing stage. You're amazing, you're awesome, all of those types of things, right? And so you don't want to believe that they are the person when they are in the punishment stage of this cycle. So you don't want to believe that they are nasty, that they are mean, that they'll say things to you like you're oversensitive, you're ridiculous, I can't believe that we're together, you'll never find somebody as good as me. All of those kind of things. You don't want to believe that they're actually that person. You want to believe that if you are the stable one in the relationship, if you continue to be with him, he's going to change his mind. He's going to shift the way that he behaves. And the fact is that you cannot fix somebody else. You can't fix another person. And if you were to look at the situation with your eyes wide open, which again, this can be difficult because you're actually an addict in this situation, and you would never tell an addict, stop, being addicted. You would actually do something to intervene and to sever the bond between the addict and whatever they were addicted to. And the same thing is actually happening with somebody who's addicted to a person when they're in this trauma bonding cycle, when they are trauma bonded with a person, with a place, with an event or a circumstance. When you're in a trauma bond, you'll also find yourself making excuses for the abusiveness that you're going through. Even if it's only verbal or emotional abuse, psychological abuse, you're going to be making excuses for him. Oh, I shouldn't have done that, or if I had been more sensitive, or if I had anticipated his needs in this certain area, or whatever the case may be, you're going to start making excuses for why that person is behaving that way towards you. And you're identifying, you are creating an insulating wall around that situation to continue it to happen. So you're going to continue to experience a reward and punishment cycle. And when somebody is trauma bonded, again, my video next week speaks more about how to break this trauma bonding cycle. But when somebody is in this, it can be very difficult for them to truly look at this situation objectively, because what you're going to see is all of the good times. You're only going to remember the good times, and this is actually a biological response. We are programmed to remember, to have stronger memories when oxytocin is released into our system. That is the way that we are made as human beings, and so we are going to remember the good times over the bad times. They're going to have a stronger emphasis, and so this is why quickly recognizing the fact that you are in a trauma bond can help you break it faster. And just a quick backstory on how trauma bonding came about, or how this term came about. You've heard probably of the term Stockholm syndrome, which is trauma bonding, which is exactly this. It is trauma bonding. We call it trauma bonding now because we realize we don't have to be in a very stressful situation, such as the way that the Stockholm syndrome term came about. And actually, let me just quick tell you that story. In Stockholm, robbers came into a bank, they held up the bank, and they were there for 3 days. And during that time, they had taken many hostages. And what happened was the hostages were actually trauma bonded to the hostage takers. And so they were protecting them, defending them. In fact, one woman ended up getting engaged to one of her kidnappers. She started a nonprofit around raising awareness about how he was being mistreated and just things like this. She stuck by him through that entire trial, and actually several of the other hostages in that situation sided with her and helped her raise money for their defense team and all this kind of thing. So in that situation, we realized that you don't have to be with a person for a long period of time in order for a trauma bond to be formed. That is extremely strong. Again, these people were only with their kidnappers for a matter of days. It wasn't like they had been with them for years. So now imagine if you are living in an abusive relationship for years. You know, it can be very difficult to want to take that step to sever that bond or to fix the unhealthy environment that you're living in. And there's obviously probably a lot more factors, right? There's probably money issues, there might be children. All of these different things can factor into why you choose to stay in a relationship. And I have a video that's called "I'm Married to a Narcissist, Can It Work?" So check that video out if you need more help on kind of navigating how to go through this process of either severing this trauma bond, how to sever it if you choose to stay in a relationship with the narcissist. One other thing that I want to say very quickly in this video is that the longer that the trauma bond is there, the longer that you're in the relationship where the trauma bond is able to not just strengthen but continue to grow in all of the ways. So it's taking over more areas of your relationship, more areas of the way that you think, the way that you actually process events. It can be even more difficult to break it. And like an addict who has severed their addiction, who has gone through rehab and has been getting clean, if they would go back to being addicted to that substance, the downfall, the spiral downward, and that connection to that substance can actually be much stronger than in the first time. And the same is true with trauma bonding. So if you decide to try to break the trauma bond and you decide that you want to sever that connection with the narcissist, be aware that that has to be a firm decision, because going back and forth is actually strengthening that trauma bond much quicker and at a deeper level than if you were just to stay in the normal relationship where you're continuing to go through the normal reward and punishment cycles. And I'm not advocating that you do that. I'm not advocating that you stay in the relationship and just suffer the abuse at all. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is be aware of what decisions you are making and all of the implications if you go back on your decision. Okay, so now I want to give you some quick questions that you could ask yourself to find out if you are in a trauma bond yourself, or maybe you know somebody who might be in a trauma bond. You can ask yourself these questions. Your self-worth is completely dependent upon the narcissist. So when he's happy with you, you're happy with you. And if he's not happy with you, you hate yourself. Number 2, you deny your own needs and you focus on meeting the needs of the narcissist completely. Whatever it is that he needs always comes before yourself. Number 3, your boundaries are very weak or they're non-existent at all. Number 4, communicating your needs and your wants, your desires, your wishes of any kind is just completely hopeless. You don't even think about doing that anymore because you know the type of reaction that conversation will be met with. Number 5, you take responsibility and blame for the narcissist behaviors and actions. Number 6, your fear of abandonment is disabling. You just can't even imagine your life without the narcissist. And number 7, you have an intense need of approval from the narcissist, and so that means that you will do and go to any lengths, any extremes, no matter how crazy the requests are, you're going to make sure that it's met. Not just because of the backlash, but because your own self-worth is tied to how the narcissist feels. So obviously codependency is a huge issue in trauma bonding in a relationship with a narcissist, and again, being able to recognize these signs quickly is going to give you the best chance of breaking that trauma bond, but it can be done no matter how long that trauma bond has been there. What you need is to make sure that you have thought through the decision and you are committed to the process of severing that trauma bond once you start. That's the most important thing. And again, next week, I'm going to be talking to you about how to go about the process of breaking that trauma bond. If you're interested in seeing all of the videos, all of the blogs, and all of the resources that I have available on narcissistic abuse and recovery, I've got good news for you. I'm coming out with the ultimate NARC handbook. This PDF is searchable and everything in it is hyperlinked, so you don't have to spend all of your time scrolling through all of my videos, reading all of my blogs. I did all of that for you. I categorized everything by topic so that it's easy for you to browse and find the situation that you need help for. You can just click on it. You're going to be taken straight away to that video, to that blog, to that product, whatever it is that you need. So keep an eye out for that. I launch it on February 1st. Again, I'm Dr. Angel Storm. Be sure to subscribe to my channel below and turn on the bell so that you receive all notifications for whenever I upload new videos.